Guess what? It's raining again. Happy spring. So it is the perfect time to read. Okay, here we go. Friday, November 20th, 1942. Dear Kitty, none of us really knows how to take it all. The news about the Jews had not really penetrated through to us until now, and we thought it was best to remain as cheerful as possible. Every now and then, when Meep lets out something about what has happened to a friend, Mummy and Miss Van Daan begin to cry, so Meep thinks it's better not to tell us anymore. But Dussel was immediately plied with questions from all sides, and the stories he told us were so gruesome and dreadful that one can't get them out of one's mind. Yet we shall still have our jokes and tease each other when these horrors have faded a bit in our minds. It won't do us any good or help those outside to go on being as gloomy as we were in the moment. And what would be the object of making our secret annex into a secret annex of gloom? Must I keep thinking about those other people, whatever I am doing? And if I want to laugh about something, should I stop myself quickly and feel ashamed that I am cheerful? I then to cry the whole day long? No, I can't do that. Besides, in this time, gloom will wear off. Added to this misery, there is another, but of a purely personal kind, and it pales into insignificance besides all the wretchedness I've just told you about. Still, I can't refrain from telling you that lately I have begun to feel deserted. I am surrounded by too great a void. I never used to feel like this. My fun and amusements and my girlfriends completely filled my thoughts. Now I either think about unhappy things or about myself. And at long last I have made the discovery that Daddy, although he's such a darling, still cannot take the place of my entire little world of bygone days. But why do I bother you with such foolish things? I am very ungrateful, Kitty. I know that. But it often makes my head swim if I jumped upon too much, and then on top of that, have to think about all those other miseries. Yours, Anne. Saturday, November 28th, 1942. Dear Kitty, we have used too much electricity, more than our ration. Result, the utmost economy and the prospect of having it cut off. No light for a fortnight, a pleasant thought, but who knows, perhaps it won't happen after all. It's too dark to read in the afternoons after 4 or half past. We pass the time in all sorts of crazy ways, asking riddles, physical training in the dark, talking English and French, and criticizing books, but it all begins to pall in the end. Yesterday evening, I discovered something new. To peer through a powerful pair of field glasses into the lighted rooms of the houses at the back. In the daytime, we can't even as much as a centimeter chink to appear between our curtains, but it can't do any harm after dark. I never knew before that the neighbors could be such interesting people. At any rate, ours are. I found one couple having a meal. One family was in the act of taking in a home movie, and the dentist opposite was just attending to an awful little old lady who was really scared. It was always said about Mr. Dussel that he could get on wonderfully with children, and he loved them all. Now he shows himself in his true colors. He is a stodgy, old-fashioned disciplinarian and a preacher of long, drawn-out sermons on manners. And I have the unusual good fortune, one, to share my bedroom, at last a small one, with his lordship, and as I'm generally considered to be the most badly behaved of the 3 young people, I have a lot to put up with, and I have to pretend to be deaf in order to escape the old, much-repeated tickings off and on warnings. All of this wouldn't be too bad if he wasn't such a frightful sneak, and he didn't pick on Mommy, of all people, to sneak to every time. When I've already just had a dose from him, Mommy goes all over it again, so I get a gale aft as well as fore. Then if I'm really lucky, I'm called on to give an account of myself to Mr. Van Dan, and then I get a veritable hurricane. Honestly, you needn't think it's easy to be the badly brought up central figure of the hypercritical family in hiding. When I lie in bed at night and think over the many sins and things attributed to me, I get so confused by it all, I either laugh or cry. It depends on what sort of mood I'm in. Okay, so Anne is kind of labeled like the naughty girl of the family. And everybody is kind of picking on her and telling her all her faults. But when you're living so close together, it's hard to get on each other's nerves. I mean, it's easy to get on each other's nerves. Then I fall asleep with a stupid feeling of wishing to be different from what I am or what I want to be, perhaps to behave differently from the way I want to behave or do behave. Oh, heavens above, now I'm getting you in a muddle too. Forgive me, but I don't like crossing things out. And in these days of paper shortage, we are not allowed to even throw paper away. Therefore, I can only advise not to read the last sentence again, and certainly try to understand it because you won't succeed anyhow. Yours, Anne. Monday, December 7th, 1942. Dear Kitty, Hanukkah and St. Nicholas days came almost together this year. Just one day's difference. We didn't make much fuss about Hanukkah. We just gave each other a few little presents and then we had candles. Because of the shortage of candles, we only had them lit for 10 minutes. But it was all right as long as you have the song. Mr. Van Dan had made a wooden candlestick, so that too was properly arranged. Saturday, the evening of St. Nicholas Days, was much more fun. Meep and Ellie had made us very inquisitive by whispering all the time of Daddy, so naturally we guessed that something was going on. And so it was. At 8 o'clock, we filed down the wooden staircase through the passage in pitch darkness. It made me shudder and wish that I had safety upstairs again, into this little dark room. There's no windows, and we were able to turn on a light. When that was done, Daddy opened the big cupboard, and oh, how lovely, we all cried. There was a large basket decorated with St. Nicholas paper stood in the corner, and on top there was a mask of Black Peter. I wonder what Black Peter is. We quickly took the basket upstairs with us. There was a nice little present for everyone, with a suitable poem attached. I got a doll whose skirt is a bag for odds and ends. Daddy got bookends, and so on. In any case, it was a nice idea, and none of us had ever celebrated St. Nicholas, so it was a good way of starting. Yours, Anne.